important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.
So, without getting into I sort of jump around, but it'll make sense here. Remember, the game is actually multidimensional, multifractional, it's not simple. So there is no straight silver bullet, and if there is, run. Okay? You've got problems with a lot of different things. Not you, we. Okay? And I say you only because it's a time to wake up. People say, it's not just me. I know, it's all of us. It's me, and myself, because we're all actually one being breathed by a universal mind, as we all found out. Everybody in this room is actually being breathed by the same thing, isn't it? Sort of a little weird again, bizarre. Okay, this bird on my shoulder here is my closest family member of the of course, we'll get into this too. Do you really think you're human? Do you really think you're human? God, man, remember the sacred name for God is Hugh. Okay? And when we put that word together, Hugh, what is that? It's the sound of a vibration of something that's really big. It's a big planet up there, okay? It has a sound. So let's really back up a little bit. I keep talking about multiple areas and multidimensionality. Like I said, I'm going to cut off some things. You're going to say you didn't finish, so I didn't want to. Okay? I'm here to stimulate you in ways. Remember, I have no idea about what's going to happen tomorrow, but I can share with you what has happened in the past and how we've actually removed ourselves from a position of suboptimalism to optimalism. So, after seeing 250,000 patient office visits of being a traditional doctor of chiropractic in 1984, I graduated as the youngest chiropractor in Cleveland Chiropractic College. It was my enthusiastic love to be able to find things that would actually aid people and myself, of course, I don't want to say I'm not greedy, and aid myself in this movement that we see, of course, is grand at this time. We all want to become more human. Okay? Now, like I said, do you really think you're human? Okay, we know, and we'll get into this, but I'm just going to jump on this here, and remind me if I don't talk about this again, because this is important for us to really know. What are we dealing with? We have multiple brains in our mind. We don't just have one brain like we all think, and this is provable to be able to actually see this on the internet. Remember, I'm not here to tell you anything. I want you to be able to actually see it for yourself and look it up and really do the investigation, because otherwise you're just believing again. And you know how to spell believe. It's got a lie in the middle. So don't believe it so much. Okay? Do you really think you're human? Okay, what's the first brain to be born? Let's see if we've got some scholars in here that actually understand brain physiology. The first brain to be formed in the mind right now is what? Is it a human mind? Ah, you guys are bloody good. Okay? The reptilian mind is activated, of course, in the first 4 weeks of life. As you'll see, it is a first brain to be born. And it is truly activated when you eat a first piece of flesh. We're going to share with you some of these beautiful creatures. I brought a few snakes here just to share with you a parable. And the snakes that we're going to show you, what the reason being is because they're cold-blooded energy reptiles. And there is a parable here. Okay? Once the reptilian mind is activated, the reptilian system, of course, is a certain energy, vibration, and consciousness. We know that. And we have another brain on top of that called the mammalian brain, and the true duality of the mind is reptilian versus mammalian, and that's a real bitch. I don't know what else to say, but wow. You fight against your own self because one side's like a gopher, who lives underground, lives in the dark, and has certain types of solitary ways. And the same family, squirrel lives terrestrial, but the big brother, of course, is the tree squirrel in the same mammalian family. They all have different ways of they run their lives. The reptilian mind, of course, has a certain vibrational tone, and so does the mammalian brain. So we have a contemplation here. We know that this is one of the biggest things we're going to want to do in the future here, is make equanimity with ourselves. We have a reptilian mammalian mind here, and the only thing you can do is actually dissolve one into the other. Otherwise, which one's going to pick, the reptilian or mammalian? Once one is activated, that's it. The only solution is a what? Dissolution of boundaries. We call this the vesicus piscis, or this interaction of the left and right side of the mind. So, a lot of the things we're going to talk about is why, because this is why we're here, is to become more human, so we could actually, once we actually see the reptilian mammalian mind, of course, once it's activated, you've got yourself the next level of movement, which of course is to blend these two together, and blending them two together, of course, will give you the activation of the human mind. Okay? And we know that the human mind at this time is not activated, because otherwise we wouldn't be acting like we do on this planet today. Okay? It's true, isn't it? Okay, and why we're here is because we do want to become more human. So, I can only share with you some of the things that I can actually really bring to the table. Over 250,000 patient visits that have come in to see me about complaints that have nothing to do with why they came in. Is actually really interesting for others that actually want to know the truth before you. Oh, here's an example. How many people in this room have metal fillings? I'm talking any filling. Anyone, come on, I'm going to raise my hand because I got 14 in my mouth that I got put into mine. Did you ever get any, David?
I had 5 taken out.
Okay, hands up. Glenn? Everybody. I'm not asking who doesn't have them. Who's got penetration? Is that penetration here? Okay? Remember, it's a different hand there than who's still got mercury fillings. You know who you are. Penetration, we're talking about who has actually had some of these very delicate acupuncture points been drilled on and filled with a mercury, lead, and tin composite with a 49% or 50% silver filling inside. We call them silver fillings, we know that. But there is a side mercury, lead, and tin component to this. I took mine out because I knew they weren't good for me, because all you gotta do is look on the internet. I don't know, I mean, you don't have to be a saint to figure this out. You don't have to be, you don't have to actually understand anything to find out that most of the things that we've actually done are incorrect. So look at this next booby trap I fell into. I go to the doctor, go to the dentist, after I, of course, when I was 8 years old, I got the Super 8, 2, 2, 2, and 2, because it was $65 a piece back on the insurance. And I just saw it because my sister got it, brothers got it. We all got our ass kicked because my father said we weren't brushing our teeth. Anyways, the whole idea here is that now we've got whatever excuse you got the fillings from. I don't care if it's high fructose corn syrup, or maybe it's because whatever. It doesn't matter. If you've got them. Now, what did you replace those fillings with? Porcelain? I thought that was the best thing, too. Remember, there's lots of people in this room today I've met that will replace their fillings. And what are you going to replace them with now? Okay? What's porcelain? Does anybody know? Alchemists?
Ceramic.
Ceramic. Okay, what's ceramic usually made out of?
Clay.
Clay. And what's clay components? What
Silica.
And?
Aluminum.
You got it, brother. I love you. Okay? This is an elemental game, so let's play the game. And it takes others to be able to see this, and actually you sharing this reasonable and logical understanding right back to, because you know a lot of things we don't know too, and all we're doing is actually sharing with the group, or the ones that actually want to see what they realize and realize there's a better way. So, the filling now is made out of porcelain, which is translated to aluminum silicate, which of course now, let's see scholars, now let's see how deep you're going to dig into it. Remember, behind the veil. What kind of compound glue do they use to be able to actually glue this composite together? Do we know? It's actually been outlawed in Canada just a little while ago. Babies' bottles, and remember, there's another one here. I thought I was smart not microwaving my child's, milk from mama. We froze it and put it in Ziploc baggies, and I didn't really know about phthalates and different types of petroleum-based chemicals. So, we, of course, got milk and put it in these baggies, which, of course, if you can smell it, beware. It's most likely toxic. It's petroleum-based. And if you put it in the freezer, we all know putting plastic bottles in freezers or putting any plastic in heat does nothing more than release some of the phthalates and or PCBs or whatever things that are in them, including bisphenol A. Okay. So, I took the microwaved menu off. No more microwaving. Okay, fine. So I went ahead and thought I was smart again. Remember, we all think we're so smart, and I can tell you at this level, my ignorance level is growing exponentially. The more questions I ask, the more answers I get, and the more questions I ask, and the more answers I get. So this ignorance level is growing exponentially in an evolutionary way. Because we can't have ignorance going the other way, too. Okay? Because remember, the more we ask, the more we see, the more we see, the more we ask. Okay, so this is a growth. So, when we go ahead and actually see now, we've got the, sometimes you have to remind me back because I'll forget because I'm talking about multi-things. So the microwave disaster, taking foods and microwave them, we know it does what to them? Destroys them massively. Okay, their structure, their energetic values, anyways, well, we don't know that. So most of us have actually taken the bottles and changed them from the glass bottles we used to use and used plastic bottles. And you'll notice at the bottom of the plastic has a little number on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, depending on its renewable or actually renewable content. So we take the bottle and we put our milk in there or anything we heat up, we put it in the water and actually heat it up. And what do? We put tons of phthalates in this nice milk. So you can see there's a booby trap system everywhere you look. Now, what's the... I still haven't heard it, I know I'm waiting. Bisphenol A is the compound that they use in the glue to be able to take the porcelain, okay? So, I'm going down to Mexico coming up. Dr. Jose Morales is actually one of the first doctors and dentists over there to be able to actually put in crystals. Crystals, remember, are very special. The crystal I'm wearing, actually I have one for everybody here. The crystal I'm wearing is amethyst. It's made out of oxygen and silicon. It's made out of a number 8, or it's a number 8 hardness to diamond, which is 10. So this is a good candidate to replace for the mouth. There's not many dentists that are doing this. This is a new movement. And or number 2, the other movement, because I got to replace mine and there's not anything to replace them with. And I got aluminum silicates or aluminum oxides in my mouth, and every time I taste, I can taste it, because I'm getting cleaner right now. And the cleaner I get, the more sensitive I get, because my extension of my nervous system is growing, so I'm becoming faster, quicker, and smarter. And I can smell a lot of things I couldn't smell before. I can taste a lot of things I can hear and understand. Remember, the big picture is that we have a nervous system, and our nervous system is what's evolving here or devolving. End of story. Our eyes, our mouth, our nose, our brain, everything is an extension of this thing called the nervous system. And I'm talking about mercury only for one reason, because we're going to get into this. Google high fructose corn syrup. You got it right now, don't you? Okay, 2 seconds and we'll go ahead and get to the PowerPoint. The only reason being, high fructose corn syrup, we're going to get to mercury here. Google it, high fructose corn syrup / mercury poisoning. Okay, it's in a lot of things. We won't say everything, but unless a company proves it to me that it doesn't have it with a certificate of analysis as a toxicologist, self-made, not by books, that I don't trust. I don't trust the message that I'm getting, because I've been distrusted so many times.